Hello, this is Matt Singer. I'm the arts and culture editor at Willamette Week, and my guest today is Max Smiff. He is a longtime figure in the Portland hip hop scene as a journalist, a promoter, a performer. Mac, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Of course. So you were at downtown at the protests last night, when Mayor Ted Wheeler made his appearance. And I saw all over my Twitter feed you managed to have a kind of lengthy conversation with him in the midst of everything. Uh, First, just kind of tell me, what did you talk to him about?
Um, we actually it was a few things. What I really talked to him about first and foremost is that we keep on saying that there's no demand in this protest, and what do you want? It's known what we want. We want to defund the police. This is not really a complicated thing. It's not like we've been out here chanting anything else besides Black Lives Matter. So defunding the police is, to me, a political ask. I'm not quite sure why they act like it's not, but it definitely is. We know what it means. There's grace in there. There's space in there to decide how much that means. I think that everyone feels that the mayor and the city commission have pretended that they cut this to $27 million when in reality it's like a $2 million cut, something like that, right? They just didn't actually give them a raise, not giving someone raises in the cut, right? So people feel like the barest of minimums was done. When you have a $255 million contract and you cut like $3 million off the budget, that's pretty minimal. They've already actually run that back up with the overtime anyway, so it really doesn't even matter. Um, and then they sit there and say, this is Portland, and we defunded the police. The people are not having that. That's not what anybody asked for, and that's that's what I talked to him about. I mean, the video's out there, but that's what it was. I told him that he's promised he was supposed to be defunding the police. That was or correcting the police department. He was going to reform. He ran on a campaign of police reform, and then knowing very well that there was a contract that would prevent him from doing the things that he was promising to do. And then at the end of his, this year, he had a chance to revise that contract, and he blamed COVID and other things for not being able to have the right committees and this other stuff. And then it just got done. I told him, I said, we were demanding those PALF demands that we really pushed and ended up getting 60,000 signatures, which is like 10% of Portland. We got 10% of Portland to email in to the commissioners and the mayor and everybody else and say, hey, we want a $50 million cut a year until we're at a minimum where that's all we need for the cops. We're going to move this money somewhere else. And they took $2 million off of $3 million off of some a silly number that's not even, it's just a rounding error at this point. So I told Ted, that we spend $1 billion every 4 years on the cops. That's insane. And how much can we do for our city with $1 billion every 4 years? How much can we do for our people with $1 billion every 4 years? And, he made some excuses, and he made some, he did the Ted thing where he blames other people. And so I told Ted that a big thing that he does is that he plays weak. When the people ask for something, he says he can't do it because the police told him he can't. When the police want something, he says he can't do it because the people say that they don't want it. When the feds are coming here, he's accepting the help, but then telling us he doesn't want them here. Then he goes and gets a photo shoot. I told him this isn't what this is about. We're not asking you to sit. Politicians have been trained, especially these Northwest politicians, have been trained in the words of equity and in the words of Black Lives Matter and all. They know all the phrases to say. They say all the right things, but they just don't do it.
And so you told him all this. Did he respond at all, or did you get the sense that he heard you to any degree?
Ted is really good at acknowledging and listening and repeating back what you said. He's very good at that. And I told him that he's very good at that, and that, recitation does not equal wisdom. It's just practicing the words. And to me, he doesn't execute the wisdom. He just says the words. Yes, you're right. You're right. We do have to fix this. We do have to get rid of police, doing all these horrible things. And then in his mind, he wants to transition back to reform again. And it's just like, you understand that the boat has sailed. Like the boat is like there's 5,000 people out here right now telling you the same thing. And you're asking, what do we want? And we're like, justice, get rid of the police. Like, what is it that you're confused about? What do you want us to do?
What did you make of what happened afterwards with Ted, the whole, tear gas thing? Was this like was any level of this not a photo op in your opinion?
It's definitely a photo op. I mean, think about it. When has an American mayor ever been tear gassed by the federal government in his own city? You know, when has a federal mayor or when has a mayor joined a protest against the federal government and been gassed by? You know, so that's definitely a you know, people were shouting out, he's looking for his a Pulitzer Prize photo, you know, and you know, I seen a few tries. People folks have taken some shots trying to get him in the big cloud sitting there, but I mean, I respect him for standing in the smoke in the tear gas that long. I will give him his I will respect that, but I wish he used that strength in the office.
You've been obviously, involved with these protests from, the time they started. You've
Pretty
been a
early.
regular presence down there. Um, what do you make of what's kind of happened over the last couple of weeks? There was a op-ed that I was just reading before we got on this interview from the head of the Portland chapter of the NAACP in the Washington Post, who feels like some of the things that have happened over the last week, the naked woman photo, the wall
Mhm.
of bombs, all this stuff. They feel this op-ed was saying that it's detracting from what these protests are actually about.
Yeah, and that's essentially the line that the guys who were hyping up the crowd for Ted Wheeler were saying as well. The Portland NAACP, in my opinion, does not really represent the wants or needs of Black people in Portland. That's a sad statement to make, but I believe it's true, and I believe it's been true for a long time, and it's true in a lot of cities. The NAACP guy I met in Salem was a white guy. And in Portland, I'm sure there's most of the staff is the same way. So it's like the scanner, you know, yeah, was started by Black people here, but then like it just kind of got maintained, and now it's just like this little tame thing that happens. So I don't really put a whole lot of stock in those statements. I don't really want to sit here and like clown other Black leaders or whatever, because our narrative, like you're saying, where we have all these people, or things are changing, and the naked lady and on the wall of moms and all that stuff. That's all really cute and all, but really that's just the media, you know. I mean, and I'm in the media, so I understand it, but that's the media putting out the most egregious things, the most Portland thing I want to see. You know, it's going on the news. What's hella Portland? Naked lady. What's not hella Portland? People are chanting Black Lives Matter. So you see one thing and you assume that what things have changed, but on the ground is exactly the same as it was on day one.